Hey, how's it going, everyone? So in this video, we're going to be talking about campaign archetypes. You're probably wondering, what is a campaign archetype? So me and John have been talking about this for, quite some time now, along with some other people, just trying to brainstorm exactly, what's going on in the algorithm side of things. How do you, decide, hey, is this going to be, a way to funnel traffic, a way to capture traffic? Is it profitable? Is it not profitable? And all of our ideas are essentially based around these two types of archetypes when it comes to just campaigns and how they function. So if you look over here, you'll see the concept of we're just buying traffic, right? We're buying the placement, we're serving to that area, that's it, right? We're optimizing maybe for like website visits, but like that's really it. We're not optimizing for purchases or leads or anything like that. So very much on the buying traffic side of things is that. And then in terms of buying conversions, so this is what you see in most accounts, right? Everyone's running conversion-based campaigns. It's not traditional marketing because you're using specific indicators to then trigger, an ad to show, and that ad is ideally as personalized as possible to the user, which then gets them to convert, and the algorithm kind of learns off that, right? So marketing used to be a lot more just about awareness, and now it's kind of shifted over for a lot of online marketing to be more based on, you're essentially buying conversions in the auction from both platforms, right? And so with that being said, it comes with some caveats, right? Like it sounds good, right? Buying conversions sounds good, but there's some issues that arise from it if you do it for too long, as well as it might not necessarily be the best option for you to scale. So I'll kind of go over that a little bit. So if you look over here, you'll see these different types of, or different sizes of bubbles. Now this is sort of just how I view it, not necessarily, I'm not saying this is how it functions exactly to the dime. So, we're looking like at just slight differences here, and like it's very rough understanding of it when it comes to this. But each one of these bubbles represents a audience, so like the size of the audience, as well as if it's a top of funnel, middle of funnel, or bottom of funnel audience. So a top of funnel audience would be, let's say, someone that has never heard of your brand and you're introducing them to that, and so it's driving new, let's just say new sales, right? It's essentially the key factor of driving new sales. Your middle of funnel is going to be more geared towards sort of maybe discovering, or having the person rediscover or see the ad again. Maybe they're aware of it, but they're not really fully sold on it. And then there's sort of like that nurturing process that happens mainly in the middle of funnel. And then the bottom of funnel, think of that as someone that maybe has purchased from you before, or they're searching up your brand name, something that's just very, very warm traffic, right? So it's sort of like a scale of cold traffic to warm traffic is how I like to think about it for this specific example. So if we look on the left over here, we'll see that there is the buying traffic that fits into this category over here, right? So we're just buying the traffic, we're not buying conversions. So awareness-based campaigns, think of like max clicks, or even just awareness inside of Facebook, reach campaigns, anything of that nature that you're mainly gearing towards just getting your brand out there, would be you're buying the traffic. You're not really optimizing for a conversion. Now you could optimize for, like I said, page visits. So technically that's a little bit on the conversion side of it, but when it comes to buying traffic, that's sort of the mindset we want to think of, right? So this could even be like that feeder campaign strategy that we've talked about in the past, where it's, max clicks campaign with a target CPA campaign. Max clicks is that, you're buying the traffic, and then target CPA is you're buying the conversions, right? And so those two kind of work together, which we'll get into in just a moment here. So when it comes to buying conversions now, as you guys can already assume, this is what the majority of agencies do. It's sort of where people start, and they try to scale with this. Now it can work depending on your niche, but if you have a very high LTV, or if, for example, the buying window is really, really long, you're B2B, I mean, there's so many factors when it comes to this, then it becomes harder and harder and harder to essentially buy conversions, because you don't necessarily know if those conversions are going to convert in the window that it's allowed to learn from, right? So if you're on Facebook and you get a conversion on, let's say, instead of 7 days, 8 days, it's not going to show up inside of the pixel. It might still track it, but it's not going to optimize for that. Same thing with Google, except Google's going to be on a 90-day click window, not a 7-day click window like that of Facebook. So it makes things a little bit more complicated for businesses, especially if, like I said, you have larger buying windows. So what tends to happen is, you have a business and you have a really, really low AOV, then margins become your issue, not the marketing as much. But then if you have a very high AOV, longer buying process, then marketing becomes more the issue because you're trying to figure out what's working and what's not working. And you're also trying to, have the algorithm learn from it, and grow from that process, right? So there's a combination of, so many things going on inside of your business that will allow someone like, me or a digital marketer in general to pick a certain, I guess you can say, archetype when it comes to this kind of stuff. So let's go into sort of the specifics of each of the sizes of, these different types of campaigns, what I've seen in accounts, and sort of more background on that. So I'm going to start, like I said, back to the awareness campaign. Typically the top of funnel audience, so cold traffic, is by far the largest. Honestly, I don't really see any middle of funnel or bottom of funnel. Maybe if you're running a max clicks campaign on search, you might get a middle of funnel or bottom of funnel searcher, but it's very negligent, right? So I kind of put these at the same level there. These kind of, are not really there per se, under, I guess you can say, 10%. Now, when it comes to top of funnel though, keep in mind that we're not optimizing for conversions. So this typically works, or looks the worst, but works the best for growing your business. Right. And it's up to the marketer to kind of figure out what rate and what's working on the top of funnel to then gauge and see how that impacts your business. And obviously, if you scale the right thing, you can scale the business, right? Pretty straightforward. So it's just very hard to do. So anyways, now going into the main area again, we're on the buying conversions, conversion based with exclusions. So what I mean by this is a conversion based strategy, and you're excluding, let's say, website visitors, all purchasers, whatever the case is, right? There's still the issue of mismatching the user that you've excluded, right? It's never going to be perfect. Algorithms and just exclusion lists are not going to match 100%. Even if Google says 100% match rate, it's still going to have unattributed or unknown, I guess you can say, users that have come in that maybe have heard about you before, but then come in to convert because they're showing warm signals, which means, it could be someone as simple as they see you on their phone, they go home, they're, same habits on their computer, and then they get an ad served to them because they're showing similar signals to that, high converting audience, but it's just the same user. So this happens a lot in conversion-based campaigns, and it's not necessarily a bad thing. Sometimes you want to show multiple times in that middle of funnel because then that nurtures them through the process. So it's kind of a combination here where you have your top of funnel audience that is, you're still, excluding the people. So the majority of traffic is going to be cold, but you still have traffic that's going to slip through the cracks, more so on middle of funnel on that interest base because they're showing similar habits, versus that bottom of funnel. Now you're obviously still going to get maybe a bottom of funnel user that's typing in, a specific keyword that's very closely related to your brand, or they see, a Facebook marketplace or a shopping ad pop up inside of your campaign and they've already seen the product before and they convert. Then that would be essentially a bottom of funnel conversion per se. So I would say this is more of your standard funnel that's kind of being built with this campaign type, which is sort of what I see most brands use to scale. But however, you kind of graduate to these other campaign types later on, and there's some more mix and match going on there. So anyways, typical, like I said, top of funnel, main point, middle of funnel more so, and then bottom of funnel less so. Now the other side of the equation, which is what a lot of bad agencies do from what I've seen, is they run and try to scale Performance Max and Advantage Plus at the same time, and they don't look at backline numbers, right? So this campaign type looks the best, right? Because we have the most middle of funnel and bottom of funnel traffic, right? So people that are showing those warm signals, we might be saying, hey, we're excluding brand traffic. That can still show up inside of Performance Max just through display. We might be saying, hey, we're marking the Advantage Plus to, below 1%. So 0% on existing customers. It will still mismatch and it will still show to existing customers based on the nature of Advantage Plus, because it's majorly based on just buying conversions, not as much based on specific audiences. So keep that in mind. But I'll see for example, someone trying to scale up Performance Max or Advantage Plus, and since their top of funnel audience is so small, they don't really have much to really work with, right? They're not really growing the business. They're just trying to squeeze their already full, pool of customers, I guess you can say. So one thing I will say though, that's a caveat about Performance Max and Advantage Plus, is that early on in your business journey, you don't really have a lot of middle funnel and bottom of funnel traffic. So that top of funnel traffic might actually be a lot larger. And then as time goes on, it will slowly shift back to sort of that original view that we have here of that warm traffic being sort of prioritized in that middle of funnel and not necessarily going after that cold traffic. So you'll see businesses that grow a lot using Performance Max or Advantage Plus, they hit a wall and then they can't pass that wall because their campaign structure is not built for that, right? So all in all, an area that we're exploring a lot more with some clients that are hitting that wall with conversion-based bidding, meaning that you're just buying conversions, is we're buying traffic with conversions, right? So like, for example, the strategy that we're talking about previously, you have a max clicks campaign on exact match on search, that's farming out conversions. We're trying to just get data to then feed the algorithm on the conversion based. Hey, these are signals that we want because these are from new users. And so it kind of works in tandem to kind of scoop that in a normal funnel, right? And so if we were even to put it to this extreme right here, right? If I were to carry this, and I know it's going to get kind of wonky, but if we look at it from this perspective here, where it's like, this looks more like a natural campaign, right? Like we're scooping up that top of funnel and funneling that into here as a separate campaign, and it's acting as that full funnel process, right? So it just depends, like I said, on the nature of the business, but I think that this is a really, really important thing to look at, especially if you're questioning, you know, why can't I scale what's going on? Because keep in mind that middle of funnel and bottom of funnel is always going to look better on a conversion-based standpoint. And so if you have this sort of idea in mind of this is going to naturally go after more cold users, then make sure that you have their marketing to back that up, right? We're not just going to use one campaign type and then let that do everything. It's not how marketing works. Omnichannel has so much effect on what's in middle of funnel and bottom of funnel, and all these as well too, right? So like if we're running, you know, a conversion-based campaign and it's maybe 10% of the budget, and Facebook is, let's say, 9% of the budget or 90% of the budget on an awareness campaign, or, you know, even just another conversion-based campaign, realize that if you're running Google on 10%, that your middle of funnel and bottom of funnel can be heavily influenced by Facebook or that omni-channel presence, wherever that is, right? Amazon, it could be anywhere, and vice versa, right? It could be from, you know, Amazon to Facebook or Facebook to Amazon. It all kind of just depends. But keep that in mind when you're looking at things from an omni-channel perspective. And this has helped me so much with making better decisions and knowing what to scale and not to scale. And I think it'll do the same for you as well. So anyways, thanks again, and I'll see you guys in the next video.